Hey everybody, it's me Alex once again, and my bad for no videos by myself for a little while. Just haven't been feeling it. But since we've had a few videos, me and my friend Frankie, I kind of wanted to do another Saturn video just for myself. He's doing one as well for his own collection, I'm guessing. But I'm going to be doing my collection of my Saturn stuff, just the games, not any accessories or anything. So let's begin with the Japanese imports. Now, the first one I have is Planet Joker. Now I'm going to try to get that out of the glare. Pretty good game. It's an overhead 2.5D shmup where you play as a anime girl in a, what do you call it, giant mech. And you just basically shoot shit. That's really it. It's fun and it's fucking hard, and you know, it's a pretty good game. I recommend it if you can find it for cheap, which is becoming really hard for Saturn games nowadays, sadly. Next we have Willy Wombat. Now, Willy Wombat honestly is not one of my favorite games. It was okay. I was in denial at first. I thought, man, this is okay, but after a while, it's just not that great. It's an isometric 2D platformer, similar to like Spyro on the Game Boy Advance, for example. But I don't know. There's just something about the art style and sprite quality and just overall gameplay in general that's just so bleh. What's weird is this was supposed to be Crash Bandicoot's name. That's weird. And the weirdest thing about this is that it's all in Japanese in terms of the text, but the English or the audio is all in English. It's like, what the fuck? So I feel like they were gonna bring this over, but then they just thought, nah, fuck it, honestly. And I don't blame them, but the Saturn didn't do well over here anyway, so I don't feel like Willy Wombat would have fucking saved the Saturn. Next we have Real About Fatal Fury Best Collection from SNK. Now the problem with this, no, there's no problem. Actually, there is. This has some action replay compatibility issues. When I tried to use it, it makes a lot of like graphical errors in terms of character movements or attacks. And I know it's that, or the action replay, because import games I hear can have some glitches on it. But what's also weird about this is I didn't mention that on the, not the spine, but the opposite side of the jewel case has an English, which is pretty useful. And on the other normal spine that we would like have it, for example, it's all in Japanese. But on this one, it's all in English. And that's like, okay, fine, no big deal. But then on the other side, there's absolutely nothing. And it makes you wonder what happened. But on the back, it's a little bit different. You know, it shows like this Sega Saturn artwork, I guess. And it's like, okay, whatever. Must just be an oddity. And we can go on from there. Another game that's coming that I don't have on me right now, which I really wish I did, is Bulk Slash. Bulk Slash is like a anime mech fighter in an arena, and you just go around and blow shit up and do all that fun stuff. I recommend getting it if you can get it on Saturn for cheap, which is hard to fucking do. I would just recommend getting it on, you know, emulator, honestly. For the Saturn, I don't, you know, with most consoles, I don't like to say, yo, go just emulate all the games. Fuck it. But the problem is, Saturn games can be so expensive that you might as well just emulate them, unless you want to be like me and actually collect them and just have a hobby for it. Anyway, let's get on to the special bundle that I got, and that is Nights into Dreams 3D controller bundle. And it comes with a jewel case on the inside instead of a long box case on the inside, which they could have fit, but I don't know. I think it's fine. I just wish that, like, when they made it, they didn't put a long box manual in there and then make a jewel case with just a paper sleeve for the front art case. They could have made, you know, custom manuals for this. Why not? I don't get it. It would have saved them a little bit more money than having to print out, another giant freaking manual. But that's just me. That's just me. What are you gonna do? Yeah, but Nice is a great game. I recommend getting it if you can, find it for cheap. Now it used to be relatively cheap. Now it's like stupid expensive. Okay, sorry about that. Now the next game I'm going to be showing is my first Saturn game, actually, and it's okay. And also, I have these games in a protective sleeve case thing to help protect against scratches on the cases. In case something spills on it, it's not going to get ruined. That's what I've seen happen to a few of my games. One of the games I have, unfortunately, the one I have that has it, has some water damage on the manual, but what are you going to do? Now, the first game we have is Thunderstrike Thunderstrike 2. Now, I don't know if this is on the PS1. It probably is. It's an okay game. I think it's pretty fun. Honestly, I would play it on easy because old games kick your ass, first off. And two, it's just pretty fun. Good for about another, 20 minutes at a time, maybe 30, if you're feeling frisky. Let's see. Gotta make sure I find a spot for these. The next one that I thought would be as good or around the same quality, which I recently got, is Black Dawn. Black Dawn, honestly, is not that great of a game. I haven't given enough time to really say this is a really good game or a really bad game. But from what I play, the controls are jank as fuck. And it's like, okay, yeah, alright. No thanks. And that was like $35-40, so that's not too painful. And here are some other Saturn games that... This is another Saturn game that I got early on in 2011, is Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider on the Saturn is basically exactly the same thing as the PS1 version, minus probably some slight graphical differences and FMV quality or whatever. But it's a pretty good port, honestly, for a 3D game on the Saturn. If you want to pick it up and you have a Saturn, go for it. Or you can just get it on the PS1 for dirt cheap. Next is Wipeout. Wipeout is basically a futuristic racing game, and it's okay on the Saturn. I know I cannot stop getting it in the glare. Okay, it's a pretty alright game. I wouldn't honestly recommend it because it only has one player mode, no two-player mode. I mean, and it gets kind of blah after a little bit. Doesn't save your data either. Next is Initial D. Now, Initial D was something I kind of heard about back then from an old YouTuber. He's not around that much, rarely anymore, Alpha Omegas, and I kind of was like, oh, this game looks kind of cool. So I wanted to pick it up years later, and I did, and I regret it because it kind of sucks. It was good for its time, but yeah, I'm not into these kind of interactive, movie-styled games. Alright, the next one is Croc. Now, Croc is on PS1, and on PC, and also on Saturn. Now, there really is no reason to pick up the Saturn version, other than, novelty purposes, because it's the worst version, graphically, control-wise. It is missing, FMV sequences. And if you boot this up, you put the disc in, close it, and then turn it on, and it boots up automatically, it's going to have some graphical glitches that you only can fix by when you, for example, when you have the Action Replay Plus in, you have to go to the main menu by pressing C, and then when you go to there, you have to open the disc tray, close the disc tray, and then it will read the disc, and then you boot the disc up from the BIOS menu, and then the game will actually run the way it's supposed to. Yeah. This was a pretty rushed version, or not very good version. And it went up in price like $50, $70 when I got it for 20 years ago. I don't get it. I really don't. The next one is Die Hard Trilogy. The guy that got it only got it for $20, the lucky bastard. I had to pay $50 to $100, somewhere around there for this one. It's okay. It's a pretty playable version of the PS1 game. So, if you have a Saturn and you want to get this for your collection, it's a pretty good choice. Though I imagine Die Hard Arcade is a little bit better, which I would want to get at some point in the future. But you know what? It's a pretty okay version. It's not. This is not as good as the PS1 version. It runs a little bit crappier, but again, it's a version. Let's see. Next, we have Cyber Troopers Virtual On. Now, this is kind of a weird game. It's one of their niche franchises, Sega's, and honestly, it's pretty fun. Like, if you have the twin stick controller, which I have, I just don't feel like getting it right now. It's a little more natural. I prefer the Dreamcast game, but you know what? It's pretty fun. I'd recommend picking it up if you want to try out something a little bit weirder and unique in terms of the gameplay itself. Now we're on to the final 5, and we're going to be going in from the the least rare to most rare. First is Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei. Now this one has a little story behind it. When I ordered this game, and it was $100. I sent this game down to my friend Frankie's house, where I was going to go hang out with him, which we did on the video, and as you could tell, and yeah, sure, the box art was in crappy condition, but we could just replace the case. And I'm like, okay, the disc has to gotta be fine, whatever. And the manual had the letter P written on it, and I'm like, whatever. But then I tried the game out when I got there. It didn't work, and yeah, I had to return that, and then go to the game store here or there, and just pick up pretty much a brand new copy. And I was like, all right, fine. I got my money back for that, so I'll buy this. So, and it's a good game, by the way. Very good game. Although I'd wait for the remake if you want to blow a ton of money on it. Same for the first game. Next is Sonic Jam. Now, Sonic Jam is basically a little compilation of the Genesis Sonic games, 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles. Not Sonic CD for some reason. I don't understand why not. But basically, yeah, that's what it is, and it has different difficulty modes, and that makes it kind of interesting. Like Sonic 3, if you do it on normal mode and go to the bonus stages, they don't speed up. So that's pretty neat. I like that. They're not perfect ports, but they're pretty damn good ports, at least for the time. And it has a 3D Sonic World, which is basically like an alpha build for Sonic Adventure back then. And, you know, makes me wonder like what a real full 3D Sonic game would have been like on the Saturn, if they had, you know, more time to work with the system and understand what it was able to do. But, you know, what are you gonna do? So basically, in a 3D world, you have a bunch of like collectibles that you can get, like, well, not collectibles, but rings you can get, challenges you can do, and places you can go to, like a gallery, you know, movie theater, just look at movie, like special Japanese commercials, and just other artwork that they have never included in future collections. It's pretty fucking cool. Now this one up from about, we got for like 50 to 70 bucks back then, up to like 400 something. Why? I don't know, but I liked it. I like this. Pretty grateful to have it, to be honest. But if you're gonna get it, just get the Japanese version for like 40 bucks, and it's exactly the same game. Exactly the same. It's weird. Now this one I wanted to have on my case on purpose. This one, Shining the Holy Ark. Now, excuse the fan noise, by the way. But yeah, that's what I thought. Excuse me. Shining the Holy Ark. Really fun game, but yeah, I don't really have a lot of complaints with this one. It's a first-person dungeon crawler, and with RPG elements, you got up to like 4 main, you know, playable characters out on front, and then you have like other members that will come into your party later. And you know what? It's a pretty solid RPG. Problem is, it was I got it for $250, and it's normally like $350 to $400. So I was like, okay, I freaking lucked out there. Now I wanted to show this for one specific reason, is because the manual. Well, actually, yeah. First off, it's funny. It's promoting Sonic Jam in here, which I do have. Obviously, I just showed you. Now, what's cool about this is that the person who sold it to me, I don't know if it's him or if it's someone else I bought it from years ago, left in Where are you? You left in something. Where'd it go? Let's see. I should have prepared this, but that's okay. The manual's in great condition too. Okay. Oh, we have the business do not reply mail. I swear that this copy had in there. Someone, no, it's gotta be in here. Huh. I must have lost it, or it's gotta be somewhere. One of my games, it has the owner's receipt from the game from when they bought it years ago. I swear it was Shining the Holy Ark because it was like $50. And I'm like, you lucky son of a bitch. Unless they're not as lucky as the guy who got Panzer Dragoon Saga at a flea market for $3. It's like, fuck. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry for the delay, but if I don't get this back in there the right way, it's going to drive me nuts. I have OCD for this stuff. And I'm also using a piece of cardboard, by the way. A little tip for Saturn stuff. If you have a case that's dipping, just take a cardboard piece about the same size of the manual and just kind of slide it underneath the grooves, or the little things that stick out, and it'll flatten it out. Like, just leave it like that for a long time, and eventually it will like keep that shape. That's what happened to my Sonic Jam copy. So anyway, yes, fantastic game. I recommend it. If you can't get it physically, play it on an emulator. Now, this one is one of the most beautiful looking games on the terms of the case and the manual I've ever seen, and that is Magic Knight Rayearth. Now you can probably see right there all that foil, and once again the fan's going off, but that's okay. But yeah, you can see like all the rainbow film and all that stuff, and it came with the stickers for the game, and the whole manual's in color too. And also it has disc variants. There are 3, and I have the, I can't remember her name, Yumi? I don't know. Very nice looking disc. The other ones look very bleh, but this one looks very nice. Very, very nice. I had this years ago though, and I stupidly sold it for $350-ish, but then it jumped up in price to like $1,000, and I was like, fuck. And I got that with this game, and this one is probably the best Saturn game on the system. Well, clearly the best Saturn game, honestly, which is being contested so far, but that is Panzer Dragoon Saga. I have the actual like authentic case manual discs, sleeves, and it's a little bit worn, but I'm fine with that. Really am. It's one of the greatest games I've ever played. One of the greatest RPGs. It's one of the best looking games on the Saturn and in general for that era. And it just has a pretty decent story. Not as good as 7, for example. But, yeah, if you look into the What Happened video of Panzer Dragoon Saga, it's fucking nuts. It really is. So anyway, yes, that was my whole Saturn collection. It was a big hodgepodge of games. It was a mess in terms of how I explained it all, but I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, my name is Alex, and I'll be seeing you next time. Farewell.